Hey everyone, welcome to my studio.
I've left a mess from last week when I made a triple lilac pendant and a couple other pendants. I'm gonna have to clean this up because I'm teaching a workshop, a pendant workshop next weekend. So I'm gonna pack it all up and get it off here. And then I've got some things I wanna show you and share with you. Here is the project I've just started. It is a peony from my garden. They peaked just a few weeks ago. I took several photos. This is one of them, and then I blew it up so it was bigger than life. And here it is. This is the pink glass that I have, so it's not as purpley as this one. But I did use a lot of iridized glass in there. And now I'm going to be working on this center part, which, if you look, is a lot of these yellow things with orange behind it. So let me show you my grand idea. And that is to fuse some bits. I've half filled this kiln shelf, and I don't want to waste the electricity to run the kiln until I fill the whole shelf. So I was undecided what to do with the rest of it. And then I ended up taking a lot of photos of other peonies. So I think I might do some more peonies. So I'm going to cut some more yellow so that I'll have some for this one, but also for whatever future peonies I do. And I kind of have a variety here. Some of the pieces I have taken just a titch of glue and glued a little bit of frit on there so that they come out not solid yellow like the glass that I'm using. This yellow glass is oceanside glass, and it's very solid. So by adding the little bit of frit on there, it just gives it a little bit of variety. And some of these pieces I've stacked too high just so that I have some different pieces to work with, because I don't know what I'm going to use in the end. We'll have to see how these turn out. I'm going to fill up the rest of this shelf with more yellow, maybe with some frit on them, just kind of like what I've done here, a variety. And then I'll throw it in the kiln, and that will be ready tomorrow. And then I can add them to my mosaic. Also, this kiln shelf has shelf paper on it, but it is shelf paper that I've used before, so there are some holes in it, so I kind of have to avoid the holes that are here. But I don't want to waste this paper. I try to use it as many times as I can, and this is kind of the perfect project because I can just avoid the holes, no problem. I'm going to give a close-up on what's going on here. This is some frit in like a cream color and sort of a peachy orange color, and I just had that glass that was the same COE as this, which is 96. So I crushed up a little bit to use for this project. And then this is the base glass that I'll be using. So all that stuff in the kiln won't be ready until tomorrow. So in the meantime, look what I pulled off my back burner. It is this planter that I made out of a cooler a long time ago. And it's been sitting in my garage, and it's pretty rough. So I think I'm gonna get started on it. And I'm gonna keep it pretty simple. I've got some blue and green tiles, and I am going to put them on the top to get started. And I'm going to use a thin set because it's so rough. I need to use an adhesive that can absorb some of that bumpiness, and I can still stick my thing on. Now, I have this fountain on my deck, and likely that planter will go on my deck as well. And so I kind of want to at least color coordinate what I've got going on here. And I do have blue and green tiles all around the edge here. I've got this pattern with half rounds and squares on the edge of this thin cover. So I don't need to exactly match it, but I'm going to at least use the same colors. And there is some white in here. I'm not sure if I have white tiles, but I'll figure something out. I do have some awesome tiles I want to show you. And that is these tiles. They're pool tiles I got at Floor & Decor. And I just like how these are ombre. I like how they're small. And these are small, ombre, and iridized. They're just gorgeous. So I don't know if I'll be able to use them, but maybe I will be. And they weren't super cheap. I want to say they were more than maybe $15 a square foot, somewhere around there. But so maybe I'll use them on this. All right, I think I'm going to do this as the bulk of the design. And now I just have this little bit right here in between that I'm not sure what I'm going to do. I tried taking these tiles and cutting them in half, and they're kind of too skinny that way. All right, so they're too big if I put them like this. They're too skinny if I put them like that. And I even cut some into triangles. And I don't like that either. So then I thought, I think I just need a smaller tile. So unfortunately, these pool tiles are not gonna cut it. And I found these tiny tiles. And look how nicely they fit in that little spot. So I'm gonna go with the tiny tiles. I like the variety of colors better. I have some iridized green, and then I kind of have this bluish green mix that I pulled out of this other mix I had. So I'm gonna alternate, I think, between these and these. And I'm not even gonna measure. I believe I have enough to go around. So yeah, it's gonna be great. And I'm gonna get that top finished right now. Also, these half rounds were purchased for the Womack wall. And then we before we knew what we were doing, and we decided not to use them. So I have them already, and now I'm gonna use them. to mosaic the entire inside of this bin because I'm going to fill it with dirt, but I am going to go down a couple of rows. And because I have more of these rounds, I'm just going to put them in strips like so. And I might cut a half one for the ends there, but I'll put them all the way around on the inside, just so that if the dirt is down a little bit, you will see mosaic and not raw edge there. That's it. Some of these turned out to be the perfect size and shape, and others just look like jelly belly jelly beans, and I don't know what I'm going to do with them. I do like fruit balls. I can use them somewhere. There's only a few that are actual balls though, because I was making these longer. Some of them look like little pills, so it's interesting, but I think I got enough of what I need, so I'm good. I've got all the pieces here, and I'm gonna lace them in here and just see how I like it and if it's gonna work for me. I'm undecided about what adhesive. I'm not sure if I want to build it up with epoxy sculpt a little bit or if I want to have it flat. So I'm gonna put some pieces in there and then make some decisions. I just love these little bits. I don't care how I use them, I am using them. Now that I've done that, I think I will go ahead and use epoxy sculpt instead of just weld bond. That will allow me to place some of these pieces like at a 45-degree angle or maybe even vertically. Just gives me a little bit more flexibility. I am not going to build it up very high. It's just going to be slight. I have this earth color kit, which comes with these 4 colors. I'm going to go ahead and use this brownish orange color because that's what color is behind there. In addition to that, I am planning on putting some background glass in that is sort of an orangish color if needed. Here we go. Carried away. I brought this to class and I went ahead and finished it. And then someone in my class had mixed up a little bit too much grout and she asked if anybody needed it. And I thought, I'll go ahead and grout it. So I would recommend waiting and doing an area like this after you grout the rest of it, because I spent an extra bit of time keeping it out of these areas and trying to clean up those areas. So that could just be avoided if you grout it first and then do the fun part. I love how it turned out. This is just what I was hoping for. I love it. I love the pink. I love the iridized. I love the yellow. Even love the little bits of bluish green in there and the leaves. I love the whole thing. Now you might think, well, that's it. She finished one and she started one. But no, I started another one. I've had this little turtle for a bit. It's made out of cement. So I'm just covering the design that's already on there, which is flowers, with blue flowers and filling in with green iridized glass pebbles. I wish these were not so tall, but I didn't want to buy anything new and I already had these, so I went ahead and used these. These are my pool tiles, so I'm very happy to have used these. And this is some blue mirror, I think, from Mosaics by Maria. I've cut out some little beads that I'm going to use for the eyes, and they have kind of a little bit of iridized on there. So I cut the bead in half so that there's better adhesion. And I'll be putting those on. And I'm gonna give him a little eyebrow that's a different color, but the rest of the head is gonna be this blue-green color. So I'm just gonna get after it. Sometimes I have to prop him up in different ways so that I can access these areas. But I really wanna finish this top part first and just get that part buttoned up. To create the petals, I take vitreous tile, which is this pool tile that I've been using, and I cut them in half. And if it's not perfect, that's 100% okay. The part that's against the middle is flat, so I'm gonna cut that part first. And then unfortunately, the part on the back that holds the whole sheet together sometimes holds the piece that I just cut off together, which is a little bit annoying, but that's okay. Still comes off, or I could cut it off with scissors. So then I just round out the petal shape, and I'm not using the grinder on this really. It's pretty forgiving. So from each tile, I can make 2 petals. So there's one petal, and here's the other one. Just rounding it out. So there's 2 petals. And then I just glue them over the petals that are already there. And if there's space in between, I jam some of these pebbles and glue those in place. So I'm gonna cut a whole bunch of petals first and then I'll glue them all on. Here I go. I'm using GE2 silicone in a tube, and this just squeezes it out for me. Was such a productive week. I got a good start on this planter. I'm still undecided about the design on here, so I have to think about that for a little bit. And then I finished the peony, which was wonderful because I had to fuse stuff, so that took a whole 24 hours or whatever in the kiln. And then I'm almost done with this turtle. I think I can knock him out pretty quickly next week. So really excited about these 2 projects coming up, and I love how the peony turned out. So overall, great week. That's putting it together. Thanks for watching. See you next time.